should be involved in showing appreciation. And this is what happens in other countries. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, you even come out with poppy appeal, and people are unwilling to do it.
Captain Dua took the opportunity to express gratitude to Vice President Professor Nanajen Opoku Ajiman for her unwavering support to veterans and their families over the years. The 28th February Crossroad incident is a critical part of Ghana's history, reminding the nation of the sacrifices made by those who fought for freedom and justice.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Still to come this evening. Only two genders exist, President Mahama declares as he indicates a return of the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill to Parliament.
Between a man and a woman. I've spoken with the Speaker so that a renewal of the expired Proper Families Values Bill should be a bill that is introduced by government rather than as a private member's motion.
Details shortly. Do stay with us here on News Tonight. Welcome back to News Tonight. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Oklu, has made a passionate appeal to traders and locals to participate in the regional cleanup campaign to promote environmental cleanliness and improve public health nationally. This was after low turnout was recorded during this month's campaign in Accra.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Oklu, during the exercise held at the Medina Market, emphasized the need for collective action from stakeholders, including local assemblies, traditional leaders, religious organizations, and the private sector, to support government's periodic cleanup exercises. She further stated that sustained sanitation efforts will help maintain a cleaner environment and curb the spread of communicable diseases such as cholera.
Ejuma na ya baba ya enya nipa ba ko ejuma ji se ye nyina ye de ye kambo ye baako ansa yɛbɛtumi ayɛ adwuma no mubua yɛ me yɛnso yɛnyɛ deɛ yɛmboa mo yɛmba ha se yɛba abɛpamo obiara ɛwɔ ha sɛ daabi yɛba abɛ ɛde directive abɛto hɔ no mu sɛ ɛbɛyɛ yɛ nyinaa yɛbɛdi so a obiara ho bɛyɛ den obiara ho bɛtɔ me.
Speaking to the media, Chief Corporate Communications Manager at the GHOne Group of Companies, Sophia Kujoji, noted that sanitation is not an individual affair, but a collective responsibility.
Attitude now is more of educational thing that we are doing all the time, educating people about the need to keep the environment clean and all that. But if we keep educating and people are not listening, it is important that sanctions are applied so that people will know that this is a serious thing. As a country, we are doing very well, I must confess. But if we don't take our attitude and enforcement seriously, we will always come back thinking that there is not much going on. But there is a lot going on.
The regional cleanup campaign is a collective effort that requires the support and participation of traditional leaders, religious organizations, market associations, youth groups, and the private sector. The exercise was supported by Zoomlion Ghana Limited, which provided logistics and security. Concerns have been raised about the low turnout for the exercise in recent times, raising questions about its effectiveness.
Now the top stories here on News Tonight. In line with his stance on the controversial legislation regarding LGBTQ plus activities in Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama says he is working closely with the Office of the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bakbin, to reintroduce the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill as a government-sponsored bill rather than a private member's bill. Speaking during a worship service with the Christian community in Accra, the president reaffirmed his position on homosexuality.
I, as a Christian, uphold the principle and the values that only two genders exist, man and woman. And that a marriage is between a man and a woman. I've spoken with the Speaker so that a renewal of the expired Proper Families Values Bill should be a bill that is introduced by government rather than as a private member's motion. And it's my hope that that consultation would see a renewed Proper Families Values Bill.
That's President John Dramani Mahama speaking there concerning the anti-LGBTQ plus bill, which, as you just heard him mention, is going to be put forward as a government-sponsored bill as opposed to a private member's bill. And certainly it's been received in varied contexts, really, some being positive about this move and others, particularly the LGBTQ plus community, having some varied views on this development. Well, let's stay a while on it and speak with MP for Asin South, Reverend Ntim Fodjo, one of the sponsors of the Ghanaian Family Values Bill, based on these comments made by President John Dramani Mahama. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, as you're aware, this bill was initially put forward as a private member's bill, and now to be reintroduced as a government-sponsored bill. What is your reaction to this?
Hello.
Yes, good evening to you. So this is Yao Dankwa, legal practitioner Yao Dankwa, joining us on this issue. Good evening to you, Lawyer Dankwa. I believe you are hearing me. This bill, as we know, was initially introduced as a private member's bill. And the president now says it's being reintroduced as a government-sponsored bill. What are the implications of this?
Sorry, I'm not calling Yao Dankwa.
Yes, hello?
Are you talking to Jantwa or Dankwa? Which one?
Jantwa.
Jantwa or Dankwa?
I'm speaking to Lawyer Jantwa.
Okay, because she says dancer. I'm not dancer.
Sorry, carry on, please.
I mean, Prime Chancellor. I don't have a problem with what the president said in terms of it becoming bringing it forth. It's now going to be from the executive. The last of the private members there, that the president, the then president, could decide whether he will sign or he won't sign. So the question is, how do you describe or how do you find the fundamental human rights? Because that is one thing people of the LGBTQI support group are saying. That is the fundamental human right. The definition of a fundamental human right is right and freedom that every human being is entitled to, simply by virtue of being human. And these rights are universal, invariable, and indivisible, meaning they apply to all people everywhere and cannot be taken away. Is that the case with LGBTQI? Now, when you look at some international definition, when you look at the fundamental, how it is defined with regards to the international human rights, and that one is the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international human rights do not explicitly mention homosexuality as fundamental human rights. So what are we talking about? If somebody is a thief, and that is the way a person lives, and you catch that person, is that because it is like that, is a fundamental human right? It cannot be. So I don't see where that argument is. Rather, because it's a fundamental human right, and it's somebody's lifestyle. It is somebody's lifestyle. If my lifestyle is to steal, that is my lifestyle. The most important thing there is that you do not be discriminatory and you give equality and equity. That is all. So I am with the president when he says he is going to take this bill as an executive legislation to Parliament for it to be passed.
Very well. Lawyer Jantwa, thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Well, let's return in studio, joined by MP for Asin South, Reverend Ntim Fodjo. He also serves as one of the sponsors of the Guinean Family Values Bill. Good evening. It's good to have you in studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Natalie.
Now, what's your reaction to this comments made by the president? As you are well aware, the bill started off as a private member's bill. Now he's spoken of it being a government-sponsored bill. What's your reaction to that?
Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. I'm deeply scandalized at the turn of principles that President Mahama is now espousing. This is a president who just some 6 months ago, when we passed the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill as a private member's bill, in the shape and form as it is, as it was then, he solidly supported the bill and said that if he were the president at the time, he would have assented to it without any hesitation. And so the same president who read a bill from section 1 to section 20 agreed with the principles contained in the bill and agreed with the 93% of Ghanaians who find LGBT practices as repugnant to our values, supported that he would have signed with alacrity, without delay, if he were president. 4 or 5 months down the line, he becomes president, and this same president is saying something different. In any case,
is he actually saying something different?
Yes.
Are you sort of suggesting that in the event that it comes as a government-sponsored bill, the contents of this bill will change, and how does it change his support of the bill?
So in any case, what is his discomfort in maintaining his position and consistent principle in support of the private members' bill? In any case,
has he changed his position in support?
Yes, he has. The same bill has been reintroduced as a legislation that is not affronting any part of the Constitution, that is not affronting any international human rights, that is in line with our Constitution and in line with our tradition, our culture, our values and principles and beliefs as a country. Therefore, we have reintroduced the same bill because we need to complete what we started. Now, he is the president of the republic. As the constitution makes provision for individual members of parliament to sponsor a private member's bill, his decision to take is when this bill is passed, whether to assent to or not. That is
What's your concern? What's your fear or concern, really, as it stands?
President Mahama must answer that. I don't have any fear.
What's your concern?
I don't have it. My only concern is that he stated that he supports this bill when we passed it, and he would have relished the opportunity. So now he is saying that he doesn't believe in the competence.
Has he said he doesn't believe in the context of the bill?
Yes, he says that. He said it just this morning when he met clergy that he is holding discussions with the Speaker of Parliament
for it to be a government-sponsored
a state-sponsored bill because he no longer believes it needs to be a private member's bill. If you are withdrawing your support for it as a private member's bill, how are you
so clarify this. How does the content change from private members bill to government bill? How does the content change?
Has he presented any bill?
No, that's not the question. I'm asking how does the content change?
But has he presented any government bill? Has he? Are you aware of any government-sponsored bill he has presented to Parliament so that we can compare the content?
What's your point?
He hasn't submitted.
What's your exact point?
He's only pontificating. He's only, just saying something. He has not. This is just rhetoric. He has not presented any bill to Parliament to say that this is government bill.
You say his stance has changed, right? But you don't know the content of this government-backed,
he has not
sponsored bill as he's in talks with the Speaker.
He has not introduced any bill to Parliament.
No, the bill. Your point is not being clearly made. We recognize that he hasn't introduced a bill to Parliament.
Yes.
The President says that it's going to be a government-sponsored bill, and he's in talks with the Speaker to that effect, as opposed to a private member's bill. What is your concern after the content of the bill?
My concern here is that, one, we do not have any government-sponsored bill on the table for us to even discuss. So that's non-starting. He's only contemplating some bill. Yes, but that bill has not come. When it comes, we'll discuss it. But for the moment, the bill that is pending legislation in Parliament is the Human, Social Rights and Family Values Bill 2025.
Just clarify, for purposes of education, how does the content change really as when it is it becomes a government backed bill?
You keep going on with,
because your concern is the content of the bill.
But Natalie, I'm asking you, has President Mahama introduced any bill to Parliament? Has he? No.
We recognize he hasn't.
Yes, so when he introduces,
I'm asking you a specific question.
I think that we don't have to belabor the point. If he introduces any bill to Parliament, then you can compare the content. But for the moment,
what are the pros of it being a government-backed bill? What are the pros of it?
No, we cannot discuss a matter that has not been introduced. I cannot sit here and discuss a bill that somebody is yet to introduce, which has not even been drafted, which has not come. I can only discuss a bill which has been drafted, which has been presented to Parliament. As we speak in Parliament, we have Human, Social Rights and Family Values Bill, which has been reintroduced to Parliament. We passed in the 8th Parliament.
Now, therefore, in effect.
Yeah, so no, but if you let me land,
you haven't seen the content of this bill.
Yeah, so we can't discuss something that I haven't seen the content, something that has not been
point then?
My point is that his position on this bill has changed. He, at the time of 2024, when we passed this bill, did not say that I do not believe that this bill
on what basis do you say the president's position has changed?
Because in 2024, he did not say that this matter that is to be addressed by this bill, the approach should not be private members' bill, and that it should be government-sponsored bill. He said that he supports the private members' approach to solving the situation. Now he wins the election, becomes president, and he says no, it should not be private members' bill and it should be government sponsored. In any case, if he wants it to be in government sponsored bill, he hasn't presented any bill to Parliament. So for the meantime, what we can talk about is a private members' bill that is before Parliament for consideration. So it's a simple matter when we pass it.
Serving as one of the sponsors of this bill.
But let me land. I very much appreciate when I land on this point. When we pass this bill and it stands as passed, he will have to decide whether to assent to it or to reject it and bring his own bill. But if he really means well, that he wants to protect the norms and traditions and culture of this country in relation to our family values, in relation to the binary nature of our gender, then he would assent to this when it is passed. And then if he thinks that there are even some more robust elements he must introduce, and a more enhanced version of a law that will come to augment this provision, at that point, then he can now talk about additional legislation that will be state-sponsored.
Finally, are there any disadvantages of it being put forward as a government, as a state-sponsored bill?
I haven't seen any content, and so until a bill comes, then I will debate on that. Because as we speak, he hasn't presented anything in the State of the Nation address he delivered yesterday in the full glare of the diplomatic corps. So in the event that before 276 MPs, we don't have the Speaker, time, he never stated that it is even in his medium-term plan.
Will you withdraw it?
He never said it is in his medium-term plan. If he brings any bill, it will not be in prejudice of this existing legislation. This bill will go through the process. Any other bill that comes will be looked at in its merits, and then we will debate it. And the two should not be conflicted at all. This bill is already in the process. He can decide to support it or not, but every member of parliament has a right to sponsor private members' bill. The government can also sponsor another bill. They may be related, but both can be pursued. When it is done, it will be his decision to assent to it or not. But we are waiting for that bill. We are waiting for the bill, the so-called bill, that he says he is going to introduce. If it is tomorrow that he will introduce, or next week, or next month, we hope to see that draft and that content. And when it comes to Parliament, it is programmed, and we'll look at the content, we'll have a debate. But in the meantime, this is on the table. It is solving the same problem, and we are urging President Mahama to be committed to this, to be consistent with his principles. He must not set principles just because in 2-3 months you have become president and suddenly you see no purpose of a private member's bill solving that problem. Same bill you supported 4 months ago when you were in opposition.
This evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Natalie.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. In some other news this evening, it's been a painful loss and a period of grieving for the EIB network these past 2 months. Breakfast show host and programs manager for Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Julius Caeser Anadem, was called home after a short ailment on January 2. Before he joined Ultimate FM, then Ultimate Radio in 2014, Caesar's media career, which spans more than 2 decades, saw him work as a passionate journalist, a lover of features and documentaries, a news editor, programs manager, and an astute host of news and current affairs programs on a number of television, radio, newspaper, and online platforms.
This is a very big blow to the brand. As I speak, Caesar is one of our morning show hosts who has weight in the Kumasi space, and for it also to be very early part of the year, it doesn't seem to look as a very good omen for the brand. But in all this, we pray that the Lord God himself will console us and also console the family of his wife. We pray that in all this, the family will be consoled and encouraged that it is the Lord who takes. And going forward, we pray that nothing like this happens to us during the year again.
Well, the laying-in state and burial service will be at the Adam Fie Charismatic Catholic Church, and the funeral ceremony at Ridge Park in Shaiso, Kumasi. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Business News is up shortly. In In business news tonight, the West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, has announced a successful completion of critical maintenance of its pipelines ahead of schedule. In a statement released on the 28th of February, the company's managing director, Michelle Burkett expressed her gratitude to the governments of Ghana, Benin, Nigeria and Togo for continued support. According to the statement, the maintenance project included offshore pipeline cleaning and inspection, subsea valve replacements and other essential works across multiple locations in the 4 countries. It further stated that the project, which spanned 4 weeks, involved temporarily shutting down pipeline laterals, which caused temporary disruptions in some countries. The statement concludes with a commitment from the company to provide high quality service and maintain the highest safety standards. Some more business news. Government says it is taking steps to resurrect the $35 million Commander Sugar Factory. Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu Ejare, says the edifice, which forms part of the Commander Sugar Development Company, will be reopened expeditiously. The previous government failed to honor its promise of operationalizing the factory, which was established during President Mahama's first term.
To honor President John Dramani Mahama's promise of prioritizing production in the country over importation, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Elizabeth Ofosu Ejare visited the abandoned Commander Sugar Factory. The facility, which was rehabilitated and commissioned in 2016 after closing down post-Nkrumah regime, was restarted for a short period in 2016 but had to be closed down due to material shortage. A matter the Trade Minister says will be resolved through locally sourced raw materials.
Excellency is also interested in the full value chain, where at Commander Sugar Factory we will start planting sugarcane, crushing it and making sugar from here. We are not only looking for value addition for sugarcane, we are looking for value extension, where we bring strategic investors to invest in their plantation, to invest in the value addition and extension. We hope to produce ethanol from this factory. Member of Parliament for the Commander Edina Iguafo Ebrem constituency, Samuel Atamils, acknowledged the potential of multiple employment opportunities the factory's revival will bring.
Injected our finances for this factory to go on. What is sad is this: if you look at Commander Edina Iguafo Ebrem, all our kids are outside. Either they are in Takoradi or Accra, or some of them even outside the country looking for jobs. Whilst we have a
same people government over the 8 years, so what it's a youth for Mahama Bay factory. As a chakaka way numpo, our fadoma, Kisina chance and young proceeding now, one won't go one. Mansama when you stack a car crack, and Naja, Ukrofi Wababe over Guedo. Want to 8 years. 8 years. Sugar factories so 1 year since you can want some there. Sugar factory in Kukobu. Rade. Mahama the Fafia Waye. And before you want to feel. What's a Danny in Kukubu? Yakash and Chawan. The Poya Naduno. Nala Baba and Nadu 24-hour economy.
He brought the factory into being. And Ghanaians are expecting that with him coming back into office, he's going to make the factory operational.
Today is my first time I'm visiting here, but since I'm seeing the wood and the building, in fact, I feel shocked.
The Omanhene of Commander Traditional Area, Okatachio Kome the 8th, thanked the government for prioritizing the Commander Sugar Factory in the industrialization plan for Ghana.
Ghana money in a Japazi.
Osande pipi no jashem. Nso bebende pipi tidam na so jashem na bebande de yana medias wako okutwa pictures. Na wa show nsem bi atase. Ebuhwe na yuhu fosi biara wonwa. Gan ne sika na sabo yaja keshimi. Once America ina da manso no na so. Masle mama nda mbe abai amba baye bibi ho ibi ma baby woko no wa bredi masro nyen fosudi ifu.
The Commander Sugar Development Company, when operationalized, will kick off as a 24-hour factory running 3 shifts, employing at least 3 times the expected number of workers. Sugarcane for the factory will be planted by government and also bought from local farms to produce sugar and ethanol.
In more business news, VL Exposure 2025, an initiative seeking to empower businesses and connect stakeholders through strategic partnerships, has been launched. Founder of the VL Exposure, Victoria Lebene Osafo in Cancer, believes her outfit will promote entrepreneurs, startups, and new innovative ideas of individuals.
Speaking to the media at the launch, the founder and organizer of VL Exposure, Victoria Lebene Osafo in Cancer, emphasized that the initiative is designed to promote entrepreneurship, support startups, and nurture innovative ideas.
So the VL Exposure is a non-profit organization that has been designed to promote SMEs, new businesses, new entrepreneurs, startups, and innovative ideas of individuals, and also use that platform to empower the new generation, the young generation, because I believe that in as much as we may all need some sort of employment, we also need some level of adequate skills that would equip us on the job.
The founder of UT.
That's all the business news we've got for you this evening here on News Tonight. More news shortly. Do stay. News tonight. Danny List, a Ghanaian professional golfer, has expressed his excitement about receiving the Genesis Invitational, a monumentous occasion presented to him by golf legend Tiger Woods. The prestigious Charlie Sifford Memorial Exemption, an honor given by the legendary golfer, was bestowed upon the young Ghanaian golfer this year.
Receiving the phone call and being told that Tiger Woods has chosen you to come and compete I still get goosebumps about it. It was a very special moment. Very proud of that. Yeah, he's my hero in the game, so I couldn't have been more excited. So that's the exemption that Tiger Woods has a hand in, and he chooses who he'd like to invite, because the Genesis is an invitational, so that's where he named it after Charlie Sifford, who's a legendary player in the game of golf, and he bestowed the...
Next on News Tonight, we bring you international news. Down Skype, the internet-based phone and video service that was once the dominant way of staying connected in the mid-2000s. Skype will no longer be available to use starting in May. The company confirmed on X, telling users that their login information can be used on Microsoft Teams free tier in the coming days. Skype's shutdown comes 14 years after Microsoft bought the service for $8.5 billion in cash, marking the company's largest ever acquisition at the time. Microsoft integrated the service into its other products such as Office and its ill-fated mobile operating service, Windows Phone. Skype's popularity has faded in recent years despite a pandemic bounce that lifted other competing products including Zoom, Google Meet and Cisco WebEx. Skype has also faced increased competition over the last decade and a half from apps like Apple's FaceTime and Meta's WhatsApp. Plus, Microsoft has been investing heavily in Teams, which offers many the same service. Well, that's lots more international and local stories available on our website, starfm.com. And that is how we draw the curtains on News Tonight this evening. Many thanks to you for watching. From the entire team, have a wonderful evening. I'm Natalie.